What does it mean to be a woman according to God? Let's get into that. Hey, thanks for joining. Today is Women Power Wednesday, and this is the first Women Power Wednesday episode on Marriage by Design, and I'm super excited, but honestly very nervous too, to be doing this podcast, doing this show with you. Usually I have my husband Nathan with me, and that helps me to not feel so nervous because I'm not on my own, but now I'm on my own. So I'm excited but nervous, so bear with me. Today we're going to be talking about what does it mean to be a woman according to God. God has a lot to say in the Bible about women and who we were created to be and who we are. And so I'm excited to get into that. Today I'm going to talk about Genesis 1:27. And in Genesis 1:27, God has just gotten done with taking 6 days to create the earth and all that's in it. And then he created man. And in verse 26, or sorry, not verse 26, before verse 26, it talks about, man was created, and then God looks and says, well, it's not good for man to be alone. So then he creates woman. So verse 27 then says, God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. So here we see that man and woman are created in the image of God. And how can that be? Because men and women are very different physically and in our thoughts and how we act and how we feel and all of those sorts of things. We're so different, men and women. So how can we both be so different but yet be created in the image of God? Well, God puts his characteristics, puts who he is uniquely in both men and women. And so we get to be image bearers of the Lord in a unique way that men aren't. Women tend to be more nurturing, more empathetic. We tend to express love maybe more deeply or just be more expressive with that. We tend to connect at deeper levels than men do. And I'm not saying this is every woman and every man, but in a general way, those are more characteristics of women and not so much of men. And so we have these female characteristics that reflect the female characteristics of the Lord. And men have unique characteristics of them that are reflections of the Lord, but both are image bearers of the Lord. Both reflect who God is. And women were created specifically to showcase these wonderful qualities of the Lord and a way for us to understand and know God better because of the way women were created. So we're all created very uniquely. There's never been a woman that was created like you. There never will be, kind of like a snowflake. It sounds really cliche, but we're all so unique. And that's because God has so many characteristics to put into each of us. And some of us are stronger in one than another. And that just shows everybody else. And we can understand God better, who God really is, by those characteristics that we see. So we're all created uniquely. And I think sometimes we struggle with that because we don't, at least I'll talk for myself. I can struggle with that because I don't appreciate some of those characteristics because I think that there's better ones out there. So there's parts of me that I'm like, ugh, I don't really like that as well. I really wish I had these characteristics that my friend has because that would make me a better person. That would make me feel better about myself. But that's not what God's intent was. God's intent wasn't to make me like the other person. His intent was to make me exactly who I am so that I can glorify the Lord in those characteristics that he made me. So if you have parts of you too that you're like, gifts of the Spirit are a great example. For a long time, I thought, okay, God gave me these certain gifts of the Spirit that I don't really want to have. I would really rather have that gift over there because that seems a lot cooler and like I can do way more for the Lord if I had those gifts. But that wasn't God's intention. He created me to have my gifts, and I need to be thankful for that. He created me exactly who I am to bear his image and carry that around as a way to glorify the Lord and point others to the Lord, and so that others can look at that and maybe understand the Lord better. And as I grow older and my face starts to sag more and my wrinkles come out and all that sort of thing, it makes me super self-conscious and I struggle with that. But that's not where my value comes from, right? My value should come from who God made me, the inside of me to be. And also he loves the outside of me. He created me to look exactly how I am. He created even the things that are totally imperfect. He created that about me because I can use those to ask him to make up those imperfections. I can ask him to help me rely on him more because of those imperfections. So if you're thinking, I don't like the way God created me, either as a whole or in this certain aspect or that certain aspect, I would really challenge you to go to God with that and ask him to make you grateful for those things and thank him for those. Don't look to the magazines. Don't look to your friend. Don't look to this girl who seems to have it all for your value to try to be that way. Instead, look to God and say, okay, who did you really create me to be, and how can I be more like that? How can I be me better? Because I'm tapping into you and I'm asking you to fill me with you, which is going to just be, then I'm going to just pour out the parts of you that you've created me to be. So I'd really encourage you to sit with God on that and ask him to really take out maybe parts of you that are ungrateful for who you are, and fill yourself with more of him. Your intrinsic value doesn't come from anything other than being an image bearer of the Lord. So the rest of this month, we're going to be talking about who God created you to be. We're going to be talking about what he has to say about women in the Bible. And I'm excited to get into that more with you. Thanks for listening and have a great week.